There's something satisfying about the fact that the animated shorts combined have the same runtime as one feature-length animation. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainly Movies. Today, we're going to be continuing to focus on Oscar-related content. I'm sure there are countless videos talking about and ranking the big Oscar categories, but I wanted to dig a little bit deeper and bring you some content focusing on, arguably, the most underappreciated categories. The short films. I was lucky enough to be able to see all of the Oscar-nominated shorts again this year, so I wanted to talk about them as part of a 3-part Rankography series. So even those who haven't had a chance to watch them might have an opportunity to get a sense of them before the ceremony. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, ranked lists, and trailer reactions. In the last Rankography, we looked at the documentary shorts, which are typically the least watched of the shorts, but today we're flipping things around and taking a look at the most popular category, the animated shorts. Despite this relative popularity, there were still only 2 theaters showing these in my entire state, so it was a bit of a trek to see them. The 5 nominees are Daughter, Hair Love, Kitbull, Memorable, and Sister. Since this is a Rankography, I'm going to be ranking these shorts, but remember, this is just my ranking, not the ranking, so be sure to post your own personal ranking of the 2020 animated short film Oscar nominees in the comments below. Coming in at number 5, Daughter. It's a submission from Czechia and was directed by Daria Kostcheva. It's a stop-motion animated film in which a woman recalls some memories from her childhood while she's visiting her father in the hospital. The animation has a unique painted papier-mâché quality to it, and themes of distance and estrangement are prominent in the story. So of all the shorts this year, animated, documentary, or live action, this was definitely my least favorite, and I think the only one that I truly disliked. First off, the visual style of the animation was just not for me. The colors, the texture, the movement, it was all very off-putting and unsettling to look at. This would be fine if it was a horror story, but it just doesn't work with this particular story. The plot itself also left a lot to be desired. The underlying themes are fine, they're just tackled in a way that's far too indirect, making the story kinda confusing and the plot pretty hard to follow. Overall, this short was just a very uncomfortable experience, and even though I think it was meant to end in an uplifting way, I didn't feel that at all. Coming in at number 4, Memorable. This is a French submission and was directed by Bruno Colette. This film has a stop-motion, papier-mâché-like animation style, similar to the aforementioned Daughter, but incorporates more colors and Van Gogh-inspired artistry. It focuses on an elderly painter and his wife, and gives us an interesting view of his perspective on the world as he begins to succumb to medical issues. It seems like every year we get at least one short that focuses on this topic. It's not exactly clear if this particular story involves Alzheimer's, dementia, or some other neurological condition, but whichever it happens to be, the focus is on memories. As familiar as the core story is at this point, I do think it approaches its visuals in a very interesting way. Everyday objects can no longer be recognized by our main character, and so we see them as he sees them, strangely shaped blobs. The same thing applies to people. His doctors, his own kids, they're all deformed and characterized by strange shapes because he can't recognize faces anymore. It's a story that's definitely sad, but still retains a good deal of humor, and I think it's one that'll hit specific people on a more personal level than others. Coming in at number 3, Sister. This is a US submission and was directed by Sichi Song. This is apparently the year of stop-motion animation, because this is our 3rd nominee that uses the style. However, rather than having a papier-mâché look, these puppets appear to be felted. This short details the memories of the narrator as he recounts his childhood in China, dealing with an irritating little sister. Even though this is only at number 3, I gotta say I really enjoyed this one. First off, I really liked the animation style. It's got some Isle of Dogs vibes to it, but is filmed monochromatically. It's not quite black and white, but it's not really sepia either, so it's kinda in between the two. And I think it works pretty well, because what we're seeing are memories. It's the only narrated animated short this year, but again, I think that also works. It provides this extra layer of humor to the story because we hear the narrator tell us what happened, but then we see the silly, sometimes fanciful memories of a child. I was enjoying this short throughout, but then the unexpected ending made it even more impactful and thought-provoking. Coming in at number 2, Hair Love. This is another US submission and was directed by Matthew A. Cherry. It features a unique 2D multimedia animated style and explores the relationship between a father and his young daughter as he tries to tame her unruly hair. This was the most consistently positive of this year's nominees, and also the shortest one, which is too bad because I would have loved to have seen more of the story. It's very colorful and extremely expressive, which is incredibly important because neither of our main characters have any dialogue. The short's also very funny and extremely relatable to anyone who's ever had their hair done by a parent or had to do the hair of their kid. It explores the father-daughter relationship in a very touching way, and then packs an even bigger emotional punch at the very end with a bit of an unexpected twist. So that means my number 1 Oscar animated short of 2020 is KITT Bull. It's another US release and was directed by Rosanna Sullivan. This short is a product of Pixar's Short Sparks program, and so while it has that typical Pixar emotional story, it doesn't look like your typical Pixar film. It's 2D animated and has a very scratchy, hand-drawn quality to it. It tells the story of a skittish but independent stray kitten and a mistreated pit bull who find solace in each other's company. I know it's not exactly original to put a Pixar-produced film at number 1, but man was this good. It had everything you could want from an animated short. Absurdly cute animal characters, an emotional and heartfelt story that takes its time to build, and a happy ending. It's not a talking animal movie, so it's completely dialogue-free, and features some really nice-looking, traditional hand-drawn animation, noticeably good sound design, and quite a bit of humor. Of all the shorts I saw this year, this is the only one that elicited cheers and applause from my audience. Okay, so I know I just went through the 5 nominees, but every year a few extra animated shorts are added to the end of the reel, so I wanted to take a little bit of time to quickly talk about and rank this year's 4 highly commended animated shorts, all of which I think are better than my number 5 ranked nominee, Daughter. Coming in at number 4 is The Bird and the Whale, directed by Carol Freeman. This short tells the story of a young whale who gets separated from their pod and happens upon a shipwreck. While investigating, the whale finds a bird trapped in a birdcage floating on a piece of debris. The story itself is a little simple, vaguely touching on themes of friendship and finding one's voice, but what really elevates this particular short is its extremely impressive and time-consuming oil paint on glass animation style. Coming in at number 3 is Henrietta Bulkowski, directed by Rachel Johnson. It's a very odd stop-motion film about a woman with a severe hunchback who dreams of seeing the world. In order to do so, she devises a plan to renovate and restore a plane that crashed in a landfill. While I wasn't particularly taken with the story or the animation style, its themes of embracing your differences and overcoming obstacles were decent. Coming in at number 2 is Hors Piste, directed by Leo Brunel, Camille Jalabert, Loris Cavalier, and Oscar Mallet. This was the only film intended as a straight-up comedy, and it was definitely very funny. It's a CG film centered on 2 bumbling mountain rescuers and the unfortunate skier who receives their help. This short is very 80s inspired, especially when it comes to the music, and features a dialogue-free series of absurd events that result in a ridiculously silly but fun short. And coming in at number 1 is Maestro, directed by Florian Babikian, Victor Kerr, Theophile Defresny, Gabriel Grapperson, and Lucas Navarre. This film is so short that I think it barely qualifies as a short, but it was absurdly delightful to me. It's simply a bunch of photorealistically animated animals singing an opera in the middle of the woods. Utterly absurd, but for some reason, it struck me as hilarious, and I really enjoyed it. Alright, so that's my rankography of the 2020 Oscar nominees for animated short film. Have you had a chance to see these animated shorts? If so, what does your ranking look like? I'd love to see some reasoning for your order, so be sure to post it in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out my rankography of the documentary shorts and stop back later this week for the live action shorts and some more Oscar-related content. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insider information out of this rankography, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe or add it to see more rankographies like this, as well as movie reviews. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.